Welcome to the Forward Think Tank podcast, a place of hope, inspiration, and education around holistic health and healing. I'm your host, Jamie Mazza, a holistic health coach, mental health advocate, and dancer. Join me as I share out-of-the-box conversations with integrative doctors, healers, and exceptional forward-thinking individuals thriving on the other side of their health challenges, as well as stories from my own personal healing journey. Thank you for tuning in. I'm so happy you're here. Hello, friends. This week on the Forward Think Tank, I interview Jesi Stracham. Jesi is somebody who I found through Instagram, not sure how, but thank you, algorithm, for putting her in my feed. She is an incredible, inspiring individual who is on a mission to make change and really help improve the lives of others. She is such a powerhouse. She shares so openly on her social media platforms. She's working on writing a book I'm so excited to read, which is going to release in November, called Roll With Me. She's an exceptional human. And so the fact that, one, she agreed to do this podcast with me, not really knowing me at all, aside from a few social media DMs. Thank you, Jesi, so much for your time. I'm so happy to have a voice like yours on this podcast because, one, I want to branch out outside of the world of cancer, which can be heavy, and two, there are so many people out there in the world who are struggling with different types of disabilities, whether that is physically, mentally. We need to talk about these things, and having somebody like Jesi on this platform who can share her story and talk about how she chose to rise above and not become her disability. She chose to empower herself, work on her mental health, work on her relationship with God, work on her relationships with herself and other people, which wound her up in a beautiful, loving relationship that she's in right now. She works on her health physically. She does a lot of similar types of therapies that I do, such as red light, PEMF mat, hyperbaric chamber. She owns a couple of wellness spots down in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is where she resides. And she's a really cool human. This was a very candid conversation. I'm really grateful, Jesi, to have you on the podcast. And it is such an incredible episode. I think it's worth everyone's listen. So please, if you enjoy it, share this episode with somebody you know. Jesi Stracham is an author, speaker, entrepreneur, coach, and fierce advocate dedicated to transforming lives. After being in a life-changing motorcycle accident that left her with a spinal cord injury and paralysis in the lower half of her body, Jesi made significant changes in her life, both physically and mentally, that transforms how she showed up in the world and for others, and she's a true inspiration to every single person who follows her. In November, Jesi will be releasing her very first book, Roll With Me, which documents life before and after her injury and the process of her transformation. As a way to help inspire and educate others. Jesi is the co-owner of Freedom Longevity and Wellness LKN. She pioneers cutting-edge therapies that support holistic health and recovery. Jesi also co-developed the Wheel With Me Adapt Fit app, empowering wheelchair users to reclaim their independence through fitness, and has created empowerment programs for adult wheelchair users as well. Jesi, even just reading that bio, I'm like, the fact that this girl has co-authored, co-developed, co-created all these things, Jesi, you're amazing. And to be able to have that time with you, to speak so candidly about some of the challenges that we've both been thrown in life and how we're choosing to handle them, brought so much comfort to me. And I know so many people are going to get so much out of this episode. I will include links for how to get in touch with Jesi, how to find her book that's coming out in November. Take a look at the episode notes to find out more ways to get in touch with her. Please enjoy this very special episode. I'm so excited to have this be one of the Kickstart conversations of season 3. Please welcome Jesi Stracham. And Jesi, if you're watching this playback, I adore you and I hope we can stay in touch. Thanks so much. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Forward Think Tank. I am thrilled to have this guest here with me, Jesi Stracham. I honestly was just saying to Jesi, I don't even know how I found you. Some grace of God, just Instagram, the algorithm put me right in front of you. She is truly one of the most inspiring people I have seen on social media. Every time you post something, even when it's like you're in the shit, I'm like, you know what? Yes, I need to remind myself of that. Listen, we all go through challenges in life. You are somebody who is truly, at least from what I've seen as an outsider, chose to rise above all of that and really empower yourself and others. So, just to tell you a little bit more about Jesi, but we'll get into the nitty gritty. Jesi is a trailblazing entrepreneur, speaker, and advocate dedicated to transforming lives. She's also working on publishing a book, her very first book, from my understanding, which is called Power in the Role, scheduled to release November 26th. And like I said, Jesi, you are just really somebody who inspires me. I don't know if you have people that you see on social media or in real life that when you're having a shit day, you're like, yeah, I needed to hear this. So thank you for putting everything out there, like the good and the bad and the in between, so candidly, because sometimes we don't realize it who's listening, but I'm listening and you've really helped me get through some of my really dark days. So thank you for being here. It means the world to me.
I really appreciate that. And that's literally why I do it. Cause I'm like, I know if I'm feeling this way, there's someone else out there feeling this way and they need to hear what I need to hear, which is what I'm saying. And so a lot of times the message is actually for me. And I'm like, all right, I got to share this with someone else because I know I'm not alone in how I feel. And I think a lot of times we get consumed by our own struggle. And it's like, I'm the only one going through this when in reality,
It's so easy to isolate ourselves when we feel like we're going through the mud. And yeah, I feel like anytime I share something like that that's heavy on my heart, it's never doing it in a way that's self serving, but I feel like you and I are both here and we're using the lemons that we've been handed to help other people and help other people shift their perspective, which is really huge. So for people who aren't familiar with you, with your story and, with the work you do, I know that's like a super loaded question, but can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your story?
yeah, absolutely. So I get a lot into it in my book. Honestly, I didn't talk about pre-injury Jesse a lot.
Hmm.
After the injury, that became my whole identity, and it wasn't until I started writing the book about 4 years ago that I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna talk about some of these other struggles." So from a young age, I dealt with sex addiction. I started having sex around 12, 13 years old, and I just seeked partners for validation, and it was a problem where I gave my body away, I cheated on partners. My current relationship is the first relationship I've ever been in where I didn't sleep with the person before dating them. And the first relationship where I built a long friendship, 11-month friendship before even having any type of intimacy. And it was really cool because it put a lot into perspective of how much I validated myself through my body. And so when I got in a motorcycle accident that left me paralyzed without use of half my body, I really struggled with my identity for a while. And I
Hmm.
believe that's why my whole identity became the wheelchairs because I didn't even know how to love Jesse as a completely non-disabled individual. So how the heck am I going to love this woman who's now a person with a disability? And even though I don't view myself as different, society views me as different. And so how am I going to navigate that and really create my footprint and force in the world? Because I refuse to believe any of society's, can I cuss?
What's that? Oh, yeah, please say whatever you
Any
want.
of society's bullshit that they try to feed me on who I'm supposed to be based on their perspective of who I am. And I don't fall into this victim narrative. I refuse. I did very early in the injury. I fell into it where I was like, oh, feel bad for me. I use a wheelchair. I feel bad for me. This bad thing happened to me. And that gets you nowhere, but even sadder in your situation. And so I'm like, all right, what does this have to offer? How can I use this to uplift? And that's when I took this pivot where I started creating more motivational content and positive content. And then the next thing I know, when I did that pivot, my life became more positive. My mindset, the way I saw my day to day life, I was like, wow, this is beautiful. It's going to work out. Everything's cool. I have nothing to worry about. And I stopped focusing on lack and just started focusing on abundance. And then God just showed up, showed out, and provided. I think it's so important because it's a testimony to you don't have to be disabled to be stuck in your own bullshit. You
So
don't have
many are stuck in our own bullshit no matter how healthy our physical bodies are. It's such a mental roller coaster and turmoil and something I've also struggled with. So thank you for sharing that because I love the questions you chose to ask yourself, like as you were faced with huge, as I call what happened in my life. It's like this bomb just got dropped on my timeline. I'm not sure how old you are, and honestly, it doesn't matter. Like I'm 38, and my diagnosis happened when I was 36. I'm like, I'm too young for this shit. Like, just not something you'd ever picture happening, but you chose to
And this is something I struggled with for a long time. Like, I was depressed for no reason in my 20s. God knows what was going on. But when you choose to ask yourself questions that lead you to more empowering answers and solutions, like you said, life changes and it becomes so much richer. So, thank you for sharing that because there's so much power in what we have going on in our head on a day to day basis. Well, how many lies does your brain tell itself? Right.
Constantly.
And I think a lot of times when we say our thoughts out loud, and this a lot of times can apply in our relationships, our personal relationships. And this again, this is my first relationship where I actually took it seriously. And we're about to be going on to a year, and I've never been more in love, never been more fulfilled. I think we forget the part where we have to become the quality of person it is we want to attract. And so I spent a year alone, a year celibate after a failed relationship, actually with another wheelchair user. And he had been a friend for a long period of time, but our relationship, the foundation was sex. And so, of course, it didn't have a solid foundation to begin with. And after that, I said, I'm done playing around. I'm done playing it small. I deserve the partner that I deserve. And I'm going to become the quality of partner of what I expect out of a partner. And within 6 months of that, I met my man. But we weren't able to dive right in. We weren't able to actually start. I ended up buying a business that he co-owned. And so now we co-own a business together. So we spent all last year building a business together. And he had some things he had to sort through. I had some things I had to sort through. And then by the end of the year, we were able to be like, okay, we want to give this a go. And it's amazing how when you pay attention, God truly aligns everything the way it's supposed to be. And the more you lean into that mission, the better off you are. Side note, I do talk about God a lot. I was an atheist before I was paralyzed. I was
Mm,
saved the day before my accident. I went to my long-term ex-boyfriend's grandmother's funeral. So this is the boyfriend I had that I bought a house with and I cheated on regularly. At one point we had an apartment together. He caught me cheating and I came home to an empty apartment. We reconciled, ended up buying a house together. I was there for about a year and a half, caught me cheating again, kicked me out, boxed all my stuff, sent me back to my parents' house. But his grandmother, I mean, we were together for 4 years. My grandparents passed when I was a kid, and so that was my only adult version of a
mm,
grandmother, and she would tell me these amazing stories of Kentucky poverty and just taught me how to make biscuits and gravy, just this wholesome granny. And as the pastor was speaking at her funeral, I just felt this calmness come over me that everything was going to be okay and Granny was going to be taken care of and that there was a God. I made a social media post about it. I have receipts. The next day, I'm in a life changing motorcycle accident where I code twice and had to be resuscitated. And so I saw my own grandmother at this point and she said, Jesse May, you can't stay with me and I can't stay with you, but you have things to do and people to get back to. So you got to go and I got to go. But you
oh
can't
my God,
come
I
with
just got full body chills.
and my grandmother sent me back, who passed when I was 8 years old, and now my name is Jessie Michelle, but she always had weird nicknames for people, and my nickname was Jessie May from her, and so I wake up, I tell my mom this, and then I knock back out. My mom's like, "Oh my god, John, she died." My dad's name is John. And she's like, "John, she died," and my dad's like, "Jackie, you're crazy. No way, Jose," and like, "That's not there's no way. You're full of shit." And then he got my medical documents 2 weeks later to submit to AFLAC, and I coded twice, had to be resuscitated. And so I didn't lean into my faith until the pandemic. So there was 5 years between me getting saved and me actually being like, "Okay, God, I give my mission and my journey to you," not just saying I believe. And I really started being like, "Okay, what would God do in this situation? How would God show up?" And I started reading the Bible and just really absorbing the message of how to be a better human. And then that applied to me developing the quality of human I wanted to attract as a life partner. And so now I have the man of my dreams and I wake up to him every single day.
I mean, that story is both like gutting and beautiful. And wow, thank you for sharing all of that because, yes, I'm here to just, you can say whatever you want. Like, there's no judgment from me ever. I also believe in God and I feel like my faith got strengthened a lot in this process. It's still shaky sometimes. I'm still like, God, why is this happening to me? But I also, as you said, felt this like overwhelming sense when I was in the hospital trying to get to the bottom of what was going on before the official diagnosis. I felt this like shake on the shoulders of somebody, God, my angels. Like I pray to my grandparents who have passed on and,
my best friend who passed over the course of the pandemic, like all the time. I'm like, guide me, like go before me in all of this. And I just felt this overwhelming sense too that I was going to be okay. So if that was like a God shake for both of us, that gives me the chills again because I don't know where I would be if I didn't throw my hands up and just say, God, take the burden. Because some days it is heavy as hell. And I know you understand that in your own life, as things we were just talking about before we hit record. Like, even though you're sitting here on the other side of a lot of those things, found the relationship, was able to empower your mindset, you've, developed all of these ways of helping people and giving back to people in the community. We still have our hard days. And we can't carry that burden all the time, put the onus and the responsibility on us to always figure it out. Well, I think it's also important to recognize that even when life is going the way that you always dreamed, there's still going to be hardship at some point. There's always a storm coming. And the more you equip yourself on the good days and you keep showing up and you keep doing what's necessary to take care of yourself, the easier the storms get. I
Mhm.
personally probably one of the laziest people you'll ever meet in your life. I would much rather just lay on the couch with my husky and just snuggle her up and doom scroll social or read or something or listen to a book talk, like a spicy book,
Yeah.
than work as a whole, or work out, or eat clean. I love sweets and I love junk food. But there comes a point in your life where you have to be like, okay, is this serving me or is this taking me further of who I say I want to be? And because there's one thing to say who you want to be, there's another thing to act as who you want to be. And a lot of times we're out here just spreading words, but we're not actually taking action. And we're all guilty of that, just as guilty for sure. It gets to a point where you just get tired of your own shit and you're like, I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of feeling this way. Holy crap, I'm the reason I feel this way. I need to make different actions in my life. That's what typically will form you to take action. But if you don't even take the time to self reflect and get in tune with who you are, what you want, and what your desires are, then you're going to just keep floating along in life wondering, oh, why don't I feel good? Why do I have no energy? Why am I so unhappy? I have all these things. And then you're going to fight with your spouse, fight with your kids, fight with your friends, and work's going to be miserable and everything's going to be miserable all because of the action that you're not taking and because you're not showing up for you. So we're just so busy showing up for everyone else. And I was so guilty of this when we moved in together. I remember we built a friendship for a year. And I knew from the moment I met this man, I literally went home. I was like, Mom, I met the person I'm spending my life with today. I knew from the moment he walked out, I was like, "Whoa." And then
What
we
was
started
it
talking.
about?
It just energy. It was just this crazy energetic pull that I felt to him. We talked every single day from the time I met him. It was never anything inappropriate, especially those first like 3, 4 months. We just talked about business, life, and personal development and in God and just expanding the soul and the self. And I was just the conversation I had with him, and then the way he looks, the whole 9, like, he's literally from head to toe the man of my dreams inside and out. And it's so cool because I have the partner that I always dreamed of, even when I didn't know how to show up as the partner he needed. When we moved in together, there was still an adjustment period. I lived in my parents' basement for over 12 years by this point, and I'm like, I've not lived with a man in so long. I don't know how to show up. And meanwhile, he had lived with somebody previously. He had no adjustment on that front, but then he had to adjust to having a high caliber partner.
Right.
That's totally different. And then I had to adjust to being a mom. That's totally different. And I say that to say life's going to bring you seasons. And even if it's a season you want, you got to be willing to do what's necessary to take care of you. I stopped taking care of me those first few months and I gained 10 pounds. My chair ended up getting damaged by the airline, which caused shoulder issues, which then led to the skin issue I'm dealing with. And here we are 5, 6 months later. I've lost that 10 pounds. I feel a lot better. My energy's improved, still dealing with the skin issue, shoulders feeling better, but I was able to start prioritizing me first. And it started with small things. At first, it was like, okay, we're not going to stay up late. If you want to stay up and watch TV on the couch, that's cool. I didn't even own a TV before we moved in together. So I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm going to go ahead and go to bed and prioritize my sleep. And then usually he follows along. And then it's him going to the gym and him being like, hey, you want to come to the gym with me? I'm like, yes, I want to get back into that routine and get into that consistent habit. And so just communicating properly with your partner about what you need really helps.
That's a
So I
big
was
deal.
like, honey, I'm not taking care of me. I have to prioritize sleep, especially as we're healing. He's like 100%, your body needs other things. It's cool having that open, honest communication, then also having that self awareness to say, this is what I need to feel good. Because as soon as I stopped taking care of me, life started falling apart.
I've been a health coach for over a decade now, and I coach a lot of women. Some are moms, some are more focused on the career, some are somewhere in between. But often as women, we forget to fill our own cup and we forget to do that first. And we tend to like everybody around us and we prioritize ourselves last. And as you said, that has such a ripple effect in either direction when you can separate yourself from life and say, oh, wow, I can take a full accountability for making changes that are going to make me feel better. And good for you for being upfront and communicating that with your partner, because I think the communication disconnect is what ruffles feathers in every relationship, whether that's like mother daughter, sibling, roommate, significant other, you name it. So the fact that you were able to do that and see how supportive he is of it, and you can find things to do together and also do your own separate things as needed, like that is a beautiful foundation of a loving relationship. So I love that for you.
It's really cool because we get into situations where we kind of, especially women, but men do it as well, where we morph into this human we think our partner wants. And with
Hmm.
him and I, because we were friends first, obviously there were some sides he didn't see, like around my cycle with the brain injury, your girl has some crazy hormones going on. And like he never really saw that because we never talked about that kind of thing. With him, I've never seen how he handles stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
But having that foundation of open communication really helped with us to be able to be like, hey, this is really not going well or this isn't. And our friendship should be this way too. My best friend literally have this conversation with her. She'll be like, hey, you're putting on a little weight or you're not showing up the way you could be. And I'm like, hey, you're putting on a little weight, you're not showing up. We're both wheelchair users. Weight for us is the difference between independence and not. If I fall out of my chair, I can tell you with where I've been, I'm not able to get myself back in my chair. And that's a skill that I used to have. And that's the other thing. If you don't practice it, you're going to lose it. And that's in life as a whole.
Yep. Totally. Totally. Going a little bit deeper as to some of the healing tools that you've been using as of recently. I know that's something we connected on. Oh yeah, like the PEMF, the HBOT, which I have disguised. Oh, I guess you can't see it. It's a little lower. The sheet over it directly behind me. Uh, some of the things that I know you've been doing that have helped you stay in a place where you feel like the healthiest version of yourself. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. So I said that him and I own a business together. It's a wellness facility. So we have cold plunge, infrared sauna, red light therapy, hyperbaric chambers,
Awesome.
PEMF. We have a stretch therapy. I do nutrition coaching out of there. And so we genuinely offer, it's an all encompassing wellness facility. I've been using PEMF or PEMF for golly since 2018. It is one of my favorite therapies, hands down. Imagine the way that you exercise your body, you do that to your cells at a cellular level. It's incredible where you can do a fast rate and it's more like a high cardio for your cells. And you can do a slow rate where it's more of like a deeper workout for your cells. And what it's doing is exercising the cells so they're able to create their own stem cells within themselves and then push the toxins to the surface so you can drink the water to flush it out. The things that you typically notice is it's great for healing anything. You have something torn, a sore, anything like that, because it gets that production going and makes it you can use the pads to pinpoint and localize. Other thing that's really helpful for is just your overall cellular function. It helps your body just function better. Imagine the difference of putting like a BS cheap level oil in your car and then using the highest level oil. That's essentially what PEMF is doing for your cells. It's that highest level oil so they function great. But also, if you just have pain and you live with chronic pain, it is one of the things where you can notice a difference immediately. Like, wow, I notice a difference in my pain right now, right here. Same thing with cold plunge. And people are very apprehensive to that cold water, but you notice the pain relief immediately.
Mm.
Red light for inflammation reduction is just absolutely insane. I love the red light when I was healing my damaged shoulder from the airline deal and the damaged tear. I was using red light and PEMF regularly along with peptides. And so I'm big on, I said, as a nutrition coach, we do integrate peptides with nutrition coaching if that's a route that people are willing to go, because the healing stack itself that can help you with your weight loss journey or your muscle gain journey in such a different way because you're able to get control of inflammation within your body. So then it can actually do what's necessary to either get stronger or lose weight. When your body is full of inflammation, you're not getting anything to happen. You're
Nope.
not managing pain, you're not losing weight, you're not getting muscles, like, it's just not happening, and if it does, it's gonna be at a lot slower scale.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I love that. I mean, I use a lot of similar things in my life. I'm like, oh, I need to play around with my PEMF mat more because I I mean, in the world of cancer care, there's so many nuances. Some people are like, it's great. Some people are like, oh, don't do that. Red light, same thing. It's like, don't put it directly on the tumor site. It gets overwhelming. But for me, the PEMF has been really great. The setting, at least that I put it on, is more for promoting restorative sleep. After my major surgery in February, I had such a hard time. My sleep was so broken, which was miserable. That really helps me, like, in a deep sleep, but after hearing you say these things, I'm like, "Oh, I need to, like, mess around because also sometimes the energy and fatigue can be a thing throughout the days." Uh,
Look into the studies. I use a specific brand these days. I've tried 4 different brands, and Pulse PMF has been my favorite. It's just had the
okay.
most durability, the strongest. There's some studies that show that because it brings the toxins out, that's able to reduce cancer cells. The only thing with peptides in cancer is you have to be very careful because it can accelerate the growth of them. And so it's very interesting. Even when you're in remission, you want to be very careful about that. My boyfriend's youngest son, when he was a baby and a toddler, he had brain cancer in the fourth ventricle of his brain, and it's been removed twice. And so he's in remission right now. He's a 9-year-old, just overly active little boy who's it's Enzo James's world, and we're living in it. But he wanted to start a YouTube channel, so we're working on that so he can encourage kids with childhood cancer that life is going to be okay on the other side.
God, kidding me? At 9 years old? What a gift.
He's so cute. It's like he's literally the cutest kid in the entire world with the biggest soul and the biggest heart. And he's just like, he'll like help me take my wheelchair apart when we're getting in the car. And I always swore up and down I would never date somebody with kids because I didn't want the drama and all the things. And it's the best decision ever because I love his kids so much. And their mom and we talk, we get along. And so it's a convenient co-parenting situation. Those kids, man, kids bring so much joy to your life.
They 100% do. I do not have kids at this point. I'm hoping at some point in the near future that can happen for us in some way. Uh, But yeah, I have nieces and nephews, and I'm just obsessed with all of them. They're just hysterical, right? Like half the time they don't know, they don't understand because we don't talk to them like we would talk to adults. They don't understand all the drama and things that are happening. Sometimes they're just like ignorant bliss. But for a 9-year-old who's gone through some pretty heavy shit at a young age, be able to say, I want to start a YouTube channel to help kids who are going through, like, oh my God, so you even understand the impact that will have. What a sweetheart.
He's literally the closest. And then his brother, to kids, like, they say the craziest things, right? His brother, we were at the soccer field one day, and I get out of my chair, lay on a blanket, that their dad sets me up and all the things. As I was laying there and he was over taking a break, hanging out with me, he's like, "Why our feet look like that?" And I was like, "'Cause they're paralyzed." You can't help but laugh because 'cause you're like, "They have no."
I just feel like he doesn't understand.
That was the way he said, "Why your feet look like that?"
Yes, kids are, yeah, very
They're the
funny.
best.
I'm so glad that you have that joy in your life and that support system in your life. So we've touched on a lot of things already. I don't know if your partner was this person, but maybe to take you back a little bit, like during the initial, well, no, I guess because this is a new relationship. During the initial post injury recovery, when you were working on yourself and working on making changes, was there a specific moment or maybe a specific person? I mean, it sounds like having that impactful, godly, heavenly conversation with your grandma who had passed was like a huge wake up call when you came to. Was there a significant moment or person in your life that helped get you through to the point where you're speaking to yourself a little bit nicer and you're choosing the more empowering lifestyle to help heal you?
Yeah, I think it's so important to recognize that anytime we go through any kind of struggle, there's seasons and phases of it. From the time I got paralyzed till about 9 months after, I'm in a clinical trial. They put what's called a neuroscaffold in my spinal cord to reconnect the disconnect. They did it 2 days after my fusion. I never met any of the markers. Once they put this in, after 6 months, it dissolves, but the idea is to allow a nerve to grow through so other nerves can grow off of it. I was the second patient in the world to get it, and I connected with patient one. And so he was and he's referred to as patient one in the book, and you guys can see kind of how that ended and whatnot. But he was my catalyst to say, this is how to be independent in a wheelchair.
Mm.
When our relationship ended, I was like, all we focused on together was walking. So I was like, all right, let me see what's wheel in the wheel world, right? And so then I started adaptive sports. And I never dated anyone seriously until I met the nurse. And that was probably 3 years into my injury. And around that same time is when I started adaptive CrossFit. I started getting a little bit of movement back as far as my hip flexors.
Mm.
And I started my wellness journey, and it was falling in a hotel room on the floor and being tired of being stuck. I was like, I'm 2 years post injury. I'm struggling to get off the floor still. Something's got to give. And I posted a meltdown video on YouTube. It's called Frustrations of Paralysis for anyone that wants to see me cry and crust for 7 minutes on the floor. But because I was so frustrated that when this happens to you, the first thing people ask you are, when are you going to walk again? When are you going to walk again? And I'm like, yo, I just want to pee on my own. I want to poop on
Yeah.
my own. I wanna have sensation of my lady parts back. That would be really nice. Have sensation as a whole to where when I spill coffee on myself or like I put a hot plate on my lap, I don't burn myself because I can feel it. Being able to shower easier, that'd be cool. Getting dressed, I wanna stand so I can get dressed. I really don't give a shit about walking. I want convenience. And that meltdown, in the first month or so, it got around 50,000 views, something like that. And that was the catalyst to me be like, "Wow, people listen to what I say. Oh, wow, my voice holds weight.
For sure.
I have something to share." I'm like, "Alright, let's go this route." And then I got into my only long-term relationship in the chair. Like I said, I serial dated here or there, had very long periods of celibacy and alone time in between. But when I was started that personal development journey, I had the nurse and he also took away a little bit of my independence, not unintentionally. Wanted to do things for me, obviously, because it looks like I'm struggling a lot. And that taught me a lot about what I didn't want in a partner, how I didn't want myself to show up with a partner, how I didn't want myself to show up in general, as far as losing my independence and wanting to do things on my own and hold that there. And it really solidified a lot within myself. I would rather struggle for a minute than ask for help because I've watched my independence slip away from asking for help too much. Now, if I need it, I'm going to ask, but that in itself and having that self awareness to be like, you know what? I'm the problem in this situation. I'm creating more struggle by trying to avoid the struggle. I
Yeah.
need to lean into this struggle so I can get a little stronger on the other side. So next time this happens, it's not as much of a struggle, if it's even a struggle at that point. And just having that self awareness to recognize how much you're genuinely crippling yourself more than you actually are.
So true. I mean, that's true with anything in life. But thank you for sharing that because I can only imagine the frustrations putting myself in your situation. It's like I I want to help myself as much as possible because I want to prove to myself that I am capable of taking care of myself. You know, you're an adult. You should be able to do things that you know that you are able to in that moment. But yeah, it's like the disabling of your ability by allowing other people to help you on a regular basis, and they feel good because they feel like they're doing something to support you, right? Like they don't see it maybe in a way of like, I'm taking Jesse's independence away. I'm, not allowing her to be as strong in her upper body if I'm helping her get out of the chair all the time or whatever, fill in the blank. It's definitely a different way to look at it in that situation for sure.
Well, I mean, I have a nonprofit that's geared to the wheelchair using community and a fitness app for the wheelchair using community. And in both of those things, you see how by the family constantly stepping in and helping, those people are more disabled than they actually are. And they can't do the things necessary to be independent. And the issue is whenever something bad or traumatic happens to a family member, we want to go in and make it better, right? Without realizing that this person has to live after you're gone and they have to know how to live after you're gone.
Yeah.
And so all you're doing is a massive disservice by helping them. No different than let's talk about our kids of these days. Parents do so much for their kids that they're not self-sufficient. When I became a bonus mom, I had to be mindful of like these kids are handing me all their BS and I'm like, dudes, I can't carry something and walk. I need your help. You got to carry my stuff. Help me out.
Yeah.
and it changes the whole perspective. I think kids that have parents that have some type of disability, they get such a different perspective on the world and a whole different level of self-sufficiency. And that's the biggest thing is when you constantly jump in for someone else, whether it's your kids, your friends, your spouse, your parents, whatever it is, when you constantly jump in and save the day, you don't give them a chance to struggle and actually create strength.
Yeah. And it sounds like now you don't have a difficult time vocalizing that. Sometimes I hate when I jump in and like compare what's going on in my life to other people that
Don't
talk, but
compare.
it's
Compare what?
just it's triggering something that I've been experiencing myself because I worked in fitness prior to my diagnosis, like well before. I taught dance fitness for almost 10 years. It was always a part of my life. I was always a very active person. I live right outside of New York City, so I have been by foot commuter for 15 years. I have not a car, was very strong and able to do things on my own. For surgery, I had a surgeon tell me because of the size of the tumor and because of the fact that it was like encroaching on my superior vena cava and in a very compromising position around major organs, he instilled the fear of God in me saying, do not lift more than 10 pounds. And I was like, are you still walking around in those leggings full of microplastics? I know. Seems like nothing is safe anymore, right? It's ridiculous. I recently started changing over my clothing to more sustainably sourced, no harm to me brands, and I have been obsessed lately with Woolly. It's made of 100% merino wool. Honestly, you have to try. Merino wool, it's naturally finer than your average wool, so don't think about like your grandma's wool, right? It's made of smaller, breathable fibers that actually regulate your body temperature. So I wore their leggings in the dead of winter when I was trying to get out every single day, even if it was 15 degrees post-op. I had not an ounce of body fat on me, so I was always freezing, and I was shocked at how it kept me warm and insulated on my walks. So obsessed. But it also wicks away moisture from the skin and is quick to dry. So really perfect for, now that it's getting nice out, we're going outside, we might be sweating a little bit. It's all good. It will regulate your body temperature. It's truly amazing. So I've been obsessed with their leggings. I also have short and long sleeve tops from them, which again are just so fine and soft to the touch. I was honestly shocked, and they're comfortable. They're cute. I mean, they have everything from like underwear to athletic wear. I can't wait to try more, but I had to tell you about this because I know honestly for a lot of people who are hyper conscious, I should say, about wellness are looking at the trending topic of microplastics in our Lululemon leggings. So if you're looking for high quality athleisure gear that won't add to your plastic burden, I highly recommend you try Woolly. They have everything, like I said, from athleisure to underwear, and you can get 15% off your first order using code JAMIEM15. That's JAMIEM as in Mazda 15 at checkout. So head on over to Woolly, WOOLLY.clothing and check them out. Enjoy. So then, doing things when I would visit my nieces and nephews and, they're 1, 2 years old and telling them I can't pick you up. They get it at a very young age. My oldest niece on my side is 4.5 going on like 15. And she still remembers, she's like, oh, Jamie, could you not carry Harrison because he hurt your back? That's what I was telling them. I hurt my back, so I can't lift you up. Like, broke my heart. But even on the other side of surgery now, the surgeon I ended up using, I remember telling him that the initial surgeon was like, no, don't lift. He's like, are you kidding me? 10 pounds is nothing. 10 pounds is a gallon of milk. I need you to be as strong as possible to be able to recover from a sternotomy and a major surgery. So I want you in these next 7 weeks before we go under to get you as strong as possible. So that really, it empowered me. But then after the surgery, I had to be careful again, right? So everybody was like, oh, I'll lift the groceries for you. I'll unload the dishwasher. I'll do XYZ. And I looked at my husband at one point and my parent, whoever I was around, and it's like, thanks for the help, but I need to get strong now. My weight is actually significantly underweight. I've lost a lot of muscle mass between some of the autoimmune flares that have been really scary. There's a lot of muscle wasting. So it's like, you're trying to help, but what is my goal? My goal is to get stronger. My goal is to get back to a more empowered version of me. You're not helping. Just let me do it. Even if I struggle a little bit, let me do it because this is building, retraining my brain, rebuilding my body one day at a time. So if I need the help, I'll ask you. Trust me.
100%. So my family realized shortly after the hospital, like I said it enough times that it was cool. And then they would let other family or friends that were visiting know, hey, if she needs help, she'll ask. And I think it's important to really get your loved ones around you as advocates as well, to be like, hey, if you need this, they'll ask. Because I we get treated like we're fragile, right? When you go through anything health related, it's like you're fragile. With the abscess coming back yesterday, my boyfriend's like, "I just need you healthy. I love you so much and I care so much. I'm sorry for being so aggressive," because he's so aggressive sometimes of like, "I need you to take care of yourself." You're like, "Ah," and you're like, "I'm doing," and you know that it's coming from a place of love and it's nothing that should be negative, but it's like, "I'm not fragile. I am okay. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get on the other side. I'm doing everything. It's fine." And just trying to reiterate that, right? Of like, "I've got this."
Yeah. And our loved ones, they learn from the thoughts that you choose and the way that you choose to see the situation. I've learned that too. I was actually just having a conversation with my husband earlier because we just went on a really wonderful trip to Europe. I had a friend who got married in France and I was like debating going because I was in a lot of pain and I had a second surgery, which I haven't talked about really on the platform yet, but had a second surgery in July and it relieved a lot of pain, but I was still like very fresh. And so I'm like, whatever. I could either be feeling a little shitty here in New Jersey or I could be feeling a little shitty in France. So we went and it was good for the soul. And
How
I
was
told,
feeling shitty in France?
what's that?
How was feeling shitty in France?
My God, amazing. I didn't. Like anytime I wanted to be like, oh, woe was me for a little bit, I'd be like, oh my God, look at this cool site. Or like, oh my God, I just ate the best food. Or like, whatever. I think when you add the lens of like a diagnosis like I'm dealing with, it can instill some fear in you based on like what you're eating or lack of sleep or moving too much or too little. Like it's just, total mind fuck. But I have to just like center myself. So I came back and had, I don't know what's going on, have a huge like rash down my left side of my leg and foot, like itching to the point where it's like breaking skin. And my husband made a comment to me this morning after I told him yesterday, yeah, I need to go to the dermatologist. He's like, oh, I thought you were going to the dermatologist. I go, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. I said that yesterday. It was Monday. I called them. They didn't answer. I have to like stop telling me what to do. Stop being my mom. And he's like, Jesus, like I'm just trying to help you. I thought we were just talking. I'm like, sometimes I feel like my burdens are becoming your to-do list and like, I'm good. I'm good. I can figure it out. But then I step back and I'm like, oh my God, I was such an asshole. Like we're playing for the same team, right? We're on the same team, we got the same goal. So I don't know if you can relate to that, but
I had the same conversation yesterday, but mine was about an abscess. And then literally, and he's like, I'm just trying to help you. I don't know why you're just jumping down my throat. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but like, I've got this. And he's like, I'm going to let you handle it then. And you just handle it and we'll go from there. And then today he's like, did you use your peptides this morning?
you're like, you didn't understand the message.
It's okay. We just,
They
but
do it
you
because
gotta
they
love,
care. But
yeah, you gotta love being loved that much, right? Like the fact that this human being loves you so much that he's like, hey, are you taking care of you?
and you know what? Sometimes in those moments, I'm like, you know what? I'm not. I need to stop doom scrolling on social media because it's really making me a raging bitch. Like,
Yeah, dude. And it will too. And it's crazy. Like the amount of people that just need to disconnect. Just disconnect. Get off the internet for a little bit. Go touch grass.
yes.
Go live your life. Read a book. I got a great one right now. It's called The Alter Ego Effect. It's a great book. Read it.
Okay. Yes. I'm always seeking those alter ego effect. Love that.
It's
Thank you.
about it's about getting that alter ego, like finding your Clark Kent to your Superman, right? Because you can't always be like, my alter ego is my full name, Jesi Stracham. That's the bitch that gets shit done. That's the bitch that goes and get it. Jesse's just like, hey, I'm Jesi. I'm like your sweet little girl. That's not who you guys see on social media. You see Jesi freaking Stracham because she's confident. She's ruthless. She doesn't care. She doesn't care about opinions. And it's really finding that version of yourself that can go out and do what you need it to do to get to where you want to go. But if you constantly try to operate in that person, you're constantly set up for disappointment. You don't want to set yourself up. This is like, I'm only 4 chapters into this boy, but I've been reading it for the last 4 days, and it is incredible. I 10 out of 10 recommend because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, this makes so much sense," because then you realize where you've done it in your life to get to where you are.
Yeah, well, that's a good one. Thank you. I mean, speaking of books, I think this like segues into I want to talk a bit about your book. It really is so motivating to see somebody who has just empowered yourself so much in life with all the curveballs that have gotten handed to you and like see you doing so well. And again, like I don't know you, so I'm not trying to be like, oh yeah, Jesse, like yay. But like I said, I open up social media and when I need a dose of like get your mind right, you're there. And I'm like, fuck yeah. So tell me about the book. Tell me what motivated you to write the book and what people can expect when they read it.
So I originally wasn't gonna write a book, right? That was never the plan, not what I wanted to do, and I met this, I'm gonna use air quotes for those on audio only, publisher editor who
Mm.
could write it and publish it for me, and the only reason I went for it was because she was doing a friend of mine's book that I trusted a lot. And so I was like, okay, this is great. Da, 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 let's make it happen. Down to clown. No. 2 years goes by and no manuscripts produced. She numerous trips back and forth, numerous conversations, shared my deepest, darkest secrets with this person. And I never got a manuscript. But I did get a call from that friend. And that friend said, hey, I don't think you should publish your book with this person. I'm not. Take a look at my manuscripts. And I read it and I was like, oh, I got to get out of this situation. So, all that 2 years of notes, conversations, all the above, she was taking. So, I got none of it. No manuscript, no anything. So, 2 years in, start over at day one. I, at the time, was working on a book for my nonprofit. It's called How Wheelchair Users Achieve Fitness. It's a collection of stories, kind of like a chicken soup for the soul, of how
Mm.
wheelchair users find their independence. It's available on Amazon. And the woman who helped us edit that, I'd been working with her. I worked on a couple of articles with her for Tough Mudder. And I said, hey, Catherine, I just got really screwed over. I started this project. I've been telling my followers for 2 years there's a book coming out, and now I have no book. So I really need some help here. And she's like, oh, I'd be honored. I've been following you since you've been paralyzed. And so at this point, that was 8 years in my injury. I'm like, "Oh my god, she's seen the transformation from, like, purple-haired wild child Jesi Stracham, freaking just learning how to be paralyzed to this brand of who I am now." And I was like, "This is perfect." So we wrote a memoir and it is from my life even before I came into this world to where it is now. The lessons I learned along the way. So there's a lot of reflections, just like this podcast, where in retrospect, I'm like, oh, I could have did this differently. And the lesson I learned from it that you can apply to your own life. But it literally goes from the how my parents met all the way to when I bought into the business and I was still looking for love. So it came together so beautifully. It's the whole journey, from my struggle with sex addiction to abusing substances and alcohol to getting paralyzed to learning how to love myself. And so it's just a very raw, authentic account of what I went through in my life. And I think the coolest thing that ties it all together, it's called Power in the Role. It genuinely it talks about how my life has always been on wheels even before I was permanently on them.
Hmm.
And you really see a lot of foreshadowing of how everything works out just the way it's supposed to be.
Man, I can't wait to read it. I appreciate the fact that you're giving people who didn't know you pre accident to get insights as to what was going on in your life and the fact that you can also connect a lot of those dots. I do that all the time. I'm always thinking like, okay, how did I get to where I am now? Or what were the major turning points in my life that gave me the mindset that I have to like get through this? I think that's going to create such a great picture for people and also allow people to relate and really get like the full breadth of who Jesi and Jesi Stracham are because those are, two different identities, but it's amazing. I mean, even though it took a bit of time and sorry to hear that you went through the shit with that person who didn't really pull through for you with the manuscript, it sounds like you found the right people to help you get that point.
Catherine was a dream. I brain dumped in a Google Doc for 6 months of some of the most impactful stories in my life where I learned the biggest lessons. Like, I had an abortion at 15, got caught cheating on my ex, and he moved out, left the apartment empty. And then I ended up moving home with my parents after buying a house with that same ex. And I continued to abuse my body, cheat, all the things. and then I get paralyzed. And so it's like there was so much more that actually built the woman who led herself to getting paralyzed. And just have a raw, authentic account of that unapologetically. It's something that you often can't do on social media without peanut gallery out there, right? And it just gets old. A lot of times when I post something that's gonna be controversial, like I post something of like, "Oh, you think it was a trend, the you think you could hurt me trend." And I'm like, I was a sex addict who got on the back of a motorcycle with someone that led her to almost dying, but ending up using a wheelchair the rest of her life because I was using the person I was on the bike with. But a lot of these thick-brained male counterparts weren't able to get that through their skulls. There came a point where anyone that's creating online or anyone that's putting themselves out there, when you post something controversial and it pops off and it's going viral and you're getting a lot of negativity on that, like, I recommend just not looking at the post again. Even if there's good
So much
comments,
easier said than done, I'm sure.
I'm telling you, and no, I do it all the time. It's really easy just to not. I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. That's helping my views and my algorithm." Like, posted something. I tried to stay away from politics these days, and I posted something about what's going on in our country right now, particularly because the girl that was stabbed was right here in my city, in the city of Charlotte. And so the girl that was stabbed on the train was right here, and then the individual was shot, Charlie Kirk was shot, right? And so I made a post about this of like, "Yo, we gotta stop killing each other just because we don't agree with each other."
Yeah.
And there's people on there that are saying that it's okay because they didn't agree with them. And
Oh,
that's
the keyboard warriors being able to hide behind your
right. And so while there's a lot of comments on there of like, yes, thank you for saying this. I appreciate you speaking out. You're the kind of creator we appreciate, whatever. There's also an equal amount of people telling me what a piece of shit I am, all the above. The day after the election, I posted a picture of me in front of the American flag. Caption just said, God was great. And the amount same thing. And so there comes a point where like those type of things that I know are going to get a lot of backlash because my specific community loves to be a victim sometimes, loves to turn things in their favor, loves to spread hate. And it is what it is. Like y'all want to keep spreading hate. I'm not absorbing that. I'm cool. I'm cool.
good for you.
Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to meet most of you. You're not paying my bills.
Yep.
You're not creating my reality. And the only way that you get to create my reality is if I give you that power, and I'm not giving it to you. And so like I said, I just don't go back. I don't, maybe a couple months later, I'll go back and I'll start to respond to the good ones once it kind of blows over and the comments stop. But while it's popping off, I just let it pop off, help my views, and I move on. And so you have to have thick skin if you're going to put yourself out there. And that's I can't emphasize it enough because so many people get sensitive and then they're like, oh, the world's out to get me. And it's like, no, keyboard warriors hide behind a screen and say things they would never say to your face. And like, you have to be cool and understand that. But my book's available for free sale on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and then my publisher's website, McFarland. And I'll send links over as well. So you guys can have that in the show notes.
Do. Please do. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so happy, like I said, that you were willing to do this just to introduce people who may not know that you exist to the way that you choose to look at so many things in life. I'm always pleasantly surprised when I bring on somebody I don't know as well. And then I love when there's just like parallels drawn. I'm like, oh yeah, I totally buy. That's why I wanted you on here. I hope that this is inspiring people to look at their own situations a little bit differently, no matter what's going on. We always have the choice to choose a better thought, to choose to rise above the haters, to choose to not let the negative comments consume us, to choose to take better action to help ourselves get out of the rut that we're in. I mean, as somebody who had something so dramatic happen to your life where it changed the way you were living completely. There's so much power in the way that you're choosing to move forward. And the fact that you chose to take your story and put it into a book for people to read and learn from is special. I can't wait to read it and I can't wait for others to do the same. Do you feel like there's anything that I haven't asked you that you want to make sure that we touch on in this conversation?
I think that we can always have a part two. I feel like God kind of led this conversation to where it went. The only thing I really want to emphasize is number one, thank you guys for your time and for listening to this podcast. Jamie does put a lot of effort into her content creation and all the above as a fellow content creator. It's no joke to get here. And so, if you gain value today, share it with a friend, tell them exactly what value you gained so that they're more likely to listen to it and actually share it with a friend. That's how this show grows. That's how that works. It's up to
Thank
you guys, the
you.
listener. And so for the effort that she's putting in through everything she's going through, please, please, please just take a moment to share it. It takes 1 second, share it with a little clip of what you like the most and help it grow. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jesse. I mean, means the world to me because I sit here and I was so called to develop this podcast just to share my own story because quite frankly, one was bored at home, taking a big step back from work, and two, kind of got tired of repeating the same story over and over again when people ask like how you're doing and what's going on. They mean I've been working as a coach for like a decade prior to all this. So I want this to be a platform to teach people. I want this to be a platform for people to come out of listening to these stories and feel like, wow, there's some tangible takeaways from this conversation that maybe I can implement into my own life. Or I'm going to share this with a friend who's going through XYZ and they can relate. So thank you for saying that because one, you totally didn't have to, but you are right. It just takes a second to share it. A couple of questions before we wrap, one that I ask everyone and one that I just think could be relevant to the conversation we've had so far. So, for somebody who I was going to say has recently had a spinal cord injury or recently finds themselves in a wheelchair, but beyond that, like any type of physical challenge or limitation that they find themselves facing in their life, what is some advice that you would give them to somebody who's newly navigating a different way of life?
Figure out how to take care of yourself and what that looks like. Add fitness, nutrition, proper sleep, hydration. The key elements. Just because you are going through something doesn't give you the right to be an asshole to yourself. And when you don't take care of yourself, that's exactly what it is. And number two is keep going. This perspective that you have over what you're going through won't be permanent unless you allow it to be. And so whether you're stuck with a permanent disability or permanent loss of something or someone, you have to be able to keep moving forward. And you have to realize that regardless of how you view it, time's going to keep passing, life's going to keep passing. So at the end of the day, you could be very negative about your situation and look at it as the glass is half empty, or you could be very positive about it and look at it as the glass half full, because regardless of how you look at it, it's not changing. And the sooner that you're able to go to that glass half full and figure out what can I do with this? What can I gain from this? How can I make this into something for me that's a positive? What can I learn from this? Then it's a lot easier to actually move forward in life with whatever it is you're going through.
Really good advice. I need to hear that too. I mean, as somebody who this major surgery, and again, I haven't like talked too much about the aftermath, but I got to a point where I was asking my surgeon, like, is this normal? Is this normal? Like, there were so many things that got shifted around and things that got taken out while they were getting the tumor out. And one of them was removing my one of two phrenic nerves that controls my diaphragm. Yeah. As somebody who, was really active, it's been humbling to have to learn how to breathe again, to be told that, essentially the right side of my diaphragm is paralyzed and maybe some things can be done to support now that I've chosen to go to physical therapy. My surgeon was like, you don't need it. You're young. Just keep moving. I'm like, nah, dude, like what I'm feeling can't be the best it's going to be. And so when you said the moment you're feeling right now, feeling stuck in your rut is not forever unless you allow it to be. And I was like, this can't be the best it's going to get. So I chose to go to physical therapy. And now seeing those physical changes as like, I'm sure maybe you see too when you start like strength training and you start eating well. Any improvement, even if it's micro, even if it's mental, gives me hope to be like, okay, we're going to have a better day today. I can feel the difference in how my rib cage is closing. I can feel the difference in how well I'm able to breathe. These things that I know I took for granted before all of this.
But I've said, okay, like I need to find the right support to help me and help myself better myself because I'm sick of sitting on my soapbox saying, "Ugh, like I'm tired today. I don't want to do this. I need an extra nap." Like, yeah, those moments are warranted. Sure. But I think the more we can ask ourselves the right questions, like you said, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? What do I need to support myself? That's when everything changes. So thank you because that advice was just something that I needed to
Well,
hear
I
again.
want to challenge you too. Honestly, that advice is for me as well. Like I said, the abscess, at least once a month, I've been on antibiotics for this abscess since May. And so my gut's destroyed. My bloating's insane. My body dysmorphia is at an all-time high. But there was something that you said as far as, "Well, this progress may be little and it might be micro." And in reality, those micro progresses are massive and they may be micro to the whole entire world and to the doctors and their scale of whatever, but in our quality of life, it's such a massive change that we cannot continue to discredit it because that is a result of the work and the effort that we're putting in and the commitment we made to ourselves, which should be celebrated. Because when you actually commit to you and follow through to you and you start getting the result that you're after, you need to be like, fuck yeah, I want more of that. And if you don't take a moment to actually celebrate just how big those quote micros are, then you're completely doing yourself a disservice. And what the fuck's the point to begin with?
So true. It's so easy to say that to somebody else and be like, celebrate your wins. But you're right. I need to celebrate this win because I went to PT yesterday for the first time since the trip. And she's like, I'm noticing more movement where your incisions are. This is great. I'm like, okay. And I told her in the beginning, I said, listen, I'm an A plus plus student. If you give me the exercises to work on at home, I'm going to do them every fucking day. I'm sitting at home half the time. If I'm not working on the podcast, finding other ways to entertain myself. So I will do just that. And if you just even give me a mustard seed of hope that things are going to get slightly better, I'm here for it. So, yes, great
Be a hope,
takeaway. Celebrate the wins for sure.
be a hope dealer to yourself. That's what you got to be. I think we're so busy dealing hope to everyone else, especially as coaches. One-on-one coaching, it's or even community coaching, it's so easy to just focus on everyone else. And you're like, I'm giving all of you hope. I'm giving all of you guidance. I'm giving you direction that you forget to the team player, their team captain, that's you. You got to give yourself those things too.
Sis.
Good. I love this conversation, Jamie,
Me
so much.
too.
You're so rad. Let's do
Me
this
too.
again.
I have one final question before I let you go, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So you're on the forward think tank. I ask everybody this to close. What is it that keeps you moving forward in life?
The desire to be the best version of me that I can be and really see how far God can take me and how big of a mission I have to fulfill for him. It's about just constantly grinding to become that next version of me and see what I can squeeze out of this shit. Maybe one day I'll walk. That's what I'm here for.
As long as you visualize that being a possibility, your body is like, okay, we're going to, I mean, only God knows, right? But don't give up on that.
Nah, I mean, with the amount that, side note, been paralyzed 10 years. First 3 years, I didn't really have anything. About year three, I started getting some hip flexors so I could crawl. I was initially paralyzed from my nipple line down. Last year at wellness facility, we have that vibration platform. It's a circular pattern rather than the typical lateral or horizontal. And so it resets your central nervous system so it can actually talk to itself properly. And it's a whole body vibration. It doesn't shake you at all. You're literally sitting still. It's a crazy sensation. Speaking of sensation, it helped me regain full sensation of hot and cold in my legs. So I now feel temperature. I was 8 years or 9 years in at that point when I started feeling temperature. So I totally believe in God and his power and his mission for his life. Again, my goal is not to walk, but if I could stand to pull my pants up, that would be cool. I'm here for convenience and quality of life. I want to get time going again. I lost 3 hours a day to being paralyzed every single day. 3 hours a day, I'm spent transferring, getting dressed, going to the bathroom, the extra time it takes to get around. And so if I can shorten that any way I can and get a little bit more of my 24 hours back, that's a win to me. And I think that we need to recognize it's not about the whole pie, it's about the pieces that get there.
So true. So true. Cassie, this conversation has been wonderful. Thank you for everything. Thank you for sharing all this, especially with all the things you've got going on, doing it with a smile and being willing to share and help people get something good out of this conversation. So I will link every way to get in touch with you. Do you prefer people follow you on Instagram, get in touch that way? Great.
Instagram, if you want coaching, my number to reach out for coaching will be on there. So if you're interested in that, that'll be on there. But honestly, please support my book.
Yeah, girl. Efforts went into it. And even if it doesn't apply directly to you, I'm sure you can pull something out of it.
Yeah. Or gift it to somebody who maybe needs to hear this message.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good for too.
Holidays are right around the corner.
Help a sister out. Give a
Yes,
book.
I will make sure link all that information. And thank you again for your time. This has been a true honor to have you here.
Thank you, Jamie.
To all of my friends in the Western New York area, this message is for you. You may remember me bringing on one of my beloved integrative doctors, Dr. Leonard Kaplan, who is the founder of Om Integrative Wellness in Buffalo, New York. And he is putting on a very special event at the Om space on Thursday, October 9th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. This is in partnership with the Night Birdie Foundation. This is a special fundraiser. The Night Birdie Foundation is a nonprofit dedicated to helping young women with breast cancer have access to integrative, whole person cancer care to provide services for these women who otherwise cannot afford them. These are services such as integrative oncology consultations, access to therapies like mistletoe, metabolic IVs, hyperthermia and ozone, nutritional and mind body support, spiritual and emotional healing modalities, and so much more. I cannot tell you how impactful these treatments were when I worked with Dr. Kaplan for 6 weeks last year. It was truly incredible. I never felt better than I did in this entire year and a half plus journey that I've been on. So this is such a special way to give back to women who desperately need whole body care. And this event will again be happening Thursday, October 9th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. at Om Integrative Wellness in Buffalo, New York. So tickets are available for $35. These include live entertainment. There's going to be live music, a magic show, food tastings, raffle, and the impact of community. Sponsorship is also available in support of the event and the foundation. The Night Birdie Foundation will also be offering guests a heartfelt opportunity to nominate a friend or a loved one currently facing breast cancer to receive a special gift of hope. If you can't make the event in person, but you're drawn to support this cause, you can also make a charitable donation and learn more at www.omintegrativewellness.com/nightbirdie. That's www.omintegrativewellness.com/NIGHTBIRDIE. Thank you so much, friends. If this is something that can impact or make a difference in somebody's life, I think it's well worth it. Share this message, share this link. I will include all of it in the episode show notes below. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you can help support this cause. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and I know Dr. Kaplan and his team at Om appreciate it as well. Did you enjoy this episode? If so, I would appreciate you taking a moment to please leave a 5-star review. Every review helps visibility with this episode to reach more people, and I am on a mission to help people learn alternate resources to support themselves in their healing journey on their road to health. So please take a moment to leave a review, leave a comment. I read every single one and I respond back. And of course, the most helpful thing you can do is to share this episode. If you found it helpful, if you found it entertaining, please share it on social media, send it to a friend, a loved one, someone you think could find this helpful. It means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening, and I will see you soon.